Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Tania, please tell the listeners when you started your Jiu-Jitsu journey. How did you start your Jiu-Jitsu journey, and what led you to go on this path?
So I did my internship at a training academy at the police station, and one of the guys there trained, and he said, come over, it's good. And at the time I was, I'm 5'2", 150 pounds, and very unhappy with myself, the way that I looked, the way that I felt. I just felt like I was just floating through life and not really like happy or sad. I was just existing. So I ended up going, and immediately the first day I was like, oh my God, this is so aggressive. There's like no separation between bodies. Like, we're literally sweating and breathing each other's nasty breaths and sweat. Mm-hmm. But I did not stop going. I felt very different about it. And mind you, growing up, I didn't know sports. I did nothing. I basically read my entire life. Every book you think of, I was reading it, but no sports. So when I started jiu-jitsu, it was just very different for me and very physical. And I had a lot of aggression in me, a lot of anger, a lot of pain, a lot of just negative emotions that there was no safe way for me to like get it out. I just did not know how to. So I was just always mad, always angry, and not anyone particularly, just me. But when I started jiu-jitsu, it's like, wow, like I can come here and be aggressive in a controlled environment and not hurt people, but get all this energy out. So I kind of became addicted to the adrenaline at first. I would go every single day for, I don't even know. Sometimes I would only take like one day a break, and I would feel torn and just so much pain. And I'm like, I want to quit. But I kept going because it really helped me with my mental health. It really helped me with just loving myself, building that confidence. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I've been through in my life that brought me to a point where I did not like myself. I did not want my body. I blamed myself for a lot of the things that happened to me. And, a lot of those things I had nothing to do with. I'm just, that person that got hit. That's how I see it. I don't get mad at things now. I just don't. I see it as that those were the cards I was dealt, and that's what happened. And now here I am, and now I have to pick up those pieces. And jiu-jitsu was that for me. I met so many people that comforted me and came through and just taught me so many things, so many techniques that I've adopted, that now I teach the girls, or, even men sometimes ask me, which that was the struggle at first because I was consistently the only female at my gym. So it was very hard to keep going when I'm just getting smashed by a bunch of people, by a bunch of men, right? Big men at that. But it really helped me. I lost 25 pounds. I eat whatever I want. I try to be mindful, but for the most part, if I'm very active, I'm really good. It helps with my mental health. It helps build that confidence because now all of a sudden I feel like I could defend myself. I got me. I don't depend on anybody to do these things for me. And just build that confidence, really, to feel safe in my own skin and know that I have me. When before it was so hard to just think about that. To me, it was like, oh, that's crazy. Like, I need someone to protect me. But it was, that lack of parental supervision and just being there for me and not having that base, not having that home where I can run back and say like, Mom, Dad, like I need or I want or help me. I didn't have that, but now I had jiu-jitsu that had a bunch of people, that also have their own trauma, their own stuff to work on. And that became my family. And I continued going every day. Every day I would go, we would make each other accountable and build a nice home, in jiu-jitsu. And that's what really made me stay. All these relationships. I mean, how did we meet, right? Jiu-jitsu. So it's like it was a nice opening for me to see that there's more to life than my pain and my anger.
That was just perfectly said. You know, you just left me speechless there. But it's just so it's so amazing to hear that you were able to find another home outside of your home.
Yeah, that was very important for me.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, for all of our listeners, jiu-jitsu technicians, practitioners, whatever you want to call jiu-jitsu fighters, I mean, are one of the most genuine, most wonderful people you will ever meet. I want to say just from the dynamics of jiu-jitsu, and you know, yeah, we're rolling around and we're trying to figure out how to land that submission in position. But before we go into that fun stuff, I do want to give a shout out to your first professor, right? Your first professor. Yes. Tiago, black belt, Tiago Silva. He's out in California, right? He's no longer in Connecticut with us now, but, a special shout out to Tiago Silva, also one of the most genuine, craziest guys that I love with all my heart. That guy is such a genuine soul. Was he your first black belt professor? How would you explain your relationship with Silva?
Oh my God. Oh, that was horrible, Luigi, because my first professor was not Tiago. There was another guy. And, you know, he was a great professor. But, you know, you always find like that mentor, that person that really shapes you, right? And that was Tiago for me. At first, we did not like each other. You know, he was married, and me and his ex at the time, we rolled, and she kind of like fractured my rib, and I wasn't happy about it because she was just not nice about it, right? Like, to me, it's like, this is such a rough sport, and there's not a lot of women. Like, why are you trying to kill me? Like, why can't we work together? So that's where everything really started for me in jiu-jitsu, just seeing that women were not nice to other women. They were very territorial. This is my gym. These are my people. And it's like, those guys, they're smashing you. You know, like, come over. Like, us women, we could train together and make each other so much better. Our jiu-jitsu is so much different than men's jiu-jitsu, right? So we kind of, you know, had a little issue there. So we weren't really, like, on speaking terms, or, you know, she didn't like me, so now he's coaching. If he made you do 5 push-ups, he was making me do 10, 15 push-ups, because they don't like each other, and that's my wife, and you know how that is, right? Eventually, all this hard push, Luigi, it got me to the point that I was winning competitions, that I felt at my absolute best, because I didn't just have someone that believed in me, but I had someone who helped me believe in me. And that to me was huge. Because you could believe in me, but if I don't believe in me, that means absolutely nothing. But the fact that he helped me see, and he helped me, like, push me to the extreme, and never had a doubt in my jiu-jitsu, all the while I did, it really helped and shaped my jiu-jitsu and the person that I am in jiu-jitsu.
Yes. And that is, and that just fits towards, his personality. He's such an amazing soul.
Yeah.
He's such an amazing guy. And he's one of those special people that you'll always remember and keep dear to your life. Special shout out to Tiago Silva. He knows who he is. And if he's listening to this, I love you, dude. It's been a while since we talked, but hopefully we talk soon. And you created this, one of the most dangerous women in Connecticut right here. I mean, I know you mentioned that you don't have, well, there were times perhaps that you didn't feel that confidence in yourself, but you've competed and you've done some damage. You want to talk to me a bit about competition and what comes with that? Any anxiety, what leads up to preparing to a competition? Like, are you still competing now? Like, what are your thoughts here? I'm
a little scared about competition now, but before me was completely different. I was out there competing. As nervous as I was, as scared as I was still doing it. As a white belt, I competed. I won one competition, but I just kept losing every time. And it was very, it it impacted me. Like, what am I doing wrong? What am I missing? What am I missing? And then once I switched over to Tiago fully teaching me and just understanding the technique differently, and his style is very much my style. He's like water, you know, he just moves to your body and he just goes, and not a lot of power is needed. And I'm tiny, right? So to me, it was like I finally found someone, and it started to show in my competitions. And you know, he would make me accountable. He wasn't that professor that was like, well, when we get there, we get there. If you win, we win. If you lose, it's a learned lesson. No, it was like, you gotta win. And if you don't win, like, you have to win, right? Like, there was no other option. He was checking in daily. What are you eating? What's your weight? What are you doing? Like, are you running? Are you doing this? And he was always just on top of everything. So competition training was hard, because while everybody was doing something with us, you know, with the bands that assisted them, he was making me do it just like that, you know. So it was very hard. His expectations were very hard, but they paid off, you know, because I needed that push. I think one of the things that he would say is, if I tell you to do 20 push-ups and you did 15 because I didn't count and you cut corners, you cut yourself short. I didn't. So it was like, damn, like, I can't even cheat on the push-ups because it made a difference, right? And then now it becomes mental. Now it's like, I got to exercise this muscle. I got to do it this way. I got to do it this many times. And, you know, I was able to compete in New York Open. I got first place there. That was the first time that I did not lose, you know, as a blue belt. And I was just like winning and winning and winning. And I did a few competitions there. I did Fight to Win with my dear friend Kristen, who is now, she takes my Saturday classes, you know. So even that relationship, you know, she's like, even to this day, she's like, Tania, can you teach me how to get out of the triangle? Because that's my thing. I love triangles, arm bars, things like that. And that's how our competition went. I got her in a triangle, and ever since, she's like, we have to work on this because you're so good. But the fact that she is looking for me to train with me, I don't consider myself as their coach. It just makes me feel so uncomfortable. And it's like confidence a little bit, and just wanting to maintain humble, and just, I don't think of myself that way. I think of myself like I'm just helping, but in reality, I'm teaching this class, right? Like, I'm not only helping them, but I'm also motivating them and making sure that I don't come across a certain way, or that I don't kill their jujitsu, because jujitsu could be very political and people could be very mean about it. Right. So I did those competitions with Kristen, and then I haven't really competed since then. COVID hit. I also had my baby. So a few things happened. And then now that I feel comfortable to compete, or at least more comfortable, because it's still very mental for me. A lot of people are like, you're so good, but if I don't believe it, I'm not gonna go out there and do it. And that's where my jiu-jitsu is struggling, my mental health. Me believing that I'm that good, even though, right, I'm getting sought out by people to train with, to compete with, to teach at their gyms. I still struggle with believing that I'm that good. I make excuses like, oh, they're just nice, they just like me. I don't give myself that credit, you know?
And you know what, Tania? I mean, for our listeners that maybe won't understand the belt ranking system, Tania's a brown belt. She's just about getting her black belt. And like very shortly, she's like right before the black belt promotion. So to hear that, it's like, even like anybody that has done jujitsu in the past, they'll be surprised to hear, wow, you're a brown belt and you're not sure of yourself. You're a beast. Like, what do you mean you're not sure of yourself? But then it goes into that mental health component that you explained so perfectly.
Yeah. You know, my upbringing wasn't someone motivating me or like, I'm proud of you, I'm happy for you. It was, you could do better. You could do better. So as a result, right now, I'm putting myself through that. Like, you could do better, Tania. You're not good enough to be called a coach. You're not good enough for X, Y, and Z. So it's a very present thing, you know, like as much as we want to ignore those things, they show up in different areas of our lives. So it's just better to address them and consistently work on them, because they're not going to go away. Right.
And yeah. And what I'm hearing, Tania, it's a common theme, but it almost sounds like that's your motivation is I have to be better. And that mindset that you consistently have, no matter what areas in your life, it's causing you to be an expert.
Right.
Like you're getting close, it's not to say that we're perfect at anything that we do, but that mindset that you just explained is the reason why you're such a strong influence on others, especially in the lives of female jiu-jitsu practitioners who look up to you.
Yes, and it's so crazy because I originally started after COVID, and after I had my baby, I went back to training, and it was rough. I tried a few gyms and I didn't like them mostly because of the culture with men. A lot of them aren't comfortable with me being small and being a brown belt and being a female small brown belt. Right. So I had a lot of difficulties finding a gym where I felt comfortable enough to grow and be challenged and not be someone's punching bag, because it can be that way when egos are being challenged. So I ended up going to the current gym that I'm at now, Orange, Black Wolf Martial Arts, and Alberto was the best. He helped me transition that first year of me being a brown belt, because Tiago promoted me, but I felt abandoned. I'm like, Tiago left, the gym broke up, so I had no home. And then, I finally found a place where I felt comfortable, not yet home, right? But comfortable enough to go and learn. And it was a good introduction to me to get back after being out for so long. And, my body wasn't the same also. I was now a little bit more stiff, and I'm older, I'm hurt. So it was nice, and he has a bunch of women over there that started their jiu-jitsu journey, right? So they looked up to me a lot. And that kind of gave me the incentive to continue. I did not want to quit. I wanted to quit. I got to the point that I was like, I'm a brown belt. I don't feel good enough anymore. I feel like I'm tired. I want to be home with my kids. I don't want to have to go out of my way. I don't find a home. And right, that peace, that family peace that was so important to me, I was detached from it. So now it's like I didn't want to open myself up for another gym, for another rupture in that family base. But it took me maybe 2 years for me to get comfortable with Alberto and really feel like this is my gym. To the point that, now I'm teaching Saturdays there at 2 p.m. So if there's any women out there that want to try, feel free to stop by. I'm there. But he helped me with that component, right? He helped me maintain and start jiu-jitsu, because he's like, I don't even care if you pay me or not. I just want you to show up and train. I want you to stay in jiu-jitsu, because he was noticing as many, Tiago too. He's like, Tania, you're not training. Get out there. So I was like, okay, I got to find the gym. The more comfortable I became and I started to learn myself as a brown belt now, I started to expand, and I ended up training. The full-time gym that I'm at now is at Fit Club Jiu-Jitsu in Fairfield, if you're ever around too. I'm there. I'm there the entire week, even Sundays. A lot of the women from Black Wolf come to visit me to Fit Club, and it's so nice because we've created an environment where we can cross-train, and it's okay to cross-train. It's okay to share technique. It's okay to learn technique from other people, right? Because we all have different bodies. We all have different perceptions, and the better you get, the better I get, because now we're challenging each other, and now my wheels are moving, and now I'm like, oh my God, how do I get past this? I can't sweep. I can't submit. What's going on? And it becomes a little bit obsessive, but I want to say in a healthy way, because you're just trying to figure out how to keep moving, right? And when I first started jiu-jitsu, that culture was not that. It was, you couldn't cross-train. You couldn't learn from other people. How dare you share your technique with others? This is all a secret, and it shouldn't be, right? We should all be able to grow and learn from each other and teach each other. Be teachable. It's so important to be teachable. I was a little reluctant to teach because of my confidence. People are going to listen to me. I got to speak up. Normally they call me out and I'm hiding behind people. now I'm being pressed to do this. And not only at Black Wolf, but at Fit Club and Joe at Fit Club. Alberto is much nicer. He asks you like, hey, can we do this? Joe is like, get in the middle and shows how you do that because you do it so well. And I was being forced to be this other person that I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah. Step out of your comfort zone.
But that, honestly, it helped me. And I kid you not, I think that my jiu-jitsu has gotten so much better at me helping others because now I'm forced to see those little details that make my game, or that now I have to change, or that someone else taught me a different way. So seeing it from like a teacher's view really is making my jiu-jitsu better. And I thought it was going to stop me in some way. I'm like, I'm going to take time for me learning. I want to learn. I wanted all the knowledge. But I didn't realize that by me teaching, I was learning. I was teaching myself all those little details as well. And not only that, right now I'm adding the part where the women are feeling comfortable with each other, where it's an open space and a safe space, right? Where we motivate and empower each other, and we're not catty and we're not mean. And we don't care what goes. No, we're nice, we're friendly, but we also want to kill each other in the safest, nicest way possible.
In the safest, nicest way possible, not literally. Exactly. Maybe literally, but it's okay. Yeah, we're just gonna squeeze you a little bit until we just a little bit, get a little tap. We'll let you go, right? Tania, I'll tell you what. What would you say to the female listener who may be looking for an activity like jiu-jitsu, and maybe she doesn't have that confidence to go into a gym, approach you, Tania, and say, hey, I never done this shit before. I want to learn, but I'm scared. Like, what would your advice be to the woman that is listening to this who has been battling that within their own mental health to become involved in something like jiu-jitsu so they can learn to defend themselves in the world that's so dangerous and egotistical? I mean, I know you mentioned that gyms can be egotistical with a lot of the machismo energy, the men. A lot of men have that issue, and there's some women that live in a world where they're afraid. They want to be able to defend themselves and their families and their children. What would you say to the female listener who is listening or watching this podcast that wants to join jiu-jitsu when you're the one they approach?
I want to say that I'm very approachable. I'm not a small person, okay? But no, I think acknowledging that you need to change those habits, that lifestyle, is very important because anybody can want to help you and you can have the resources and the access. But if you don't want to change those things, it's going to be very hard. So just finding a gym that you're comfortable with, the environment, and knowing that it's okay to say, no, I don't want to roll with you, you know, if that person has hurt you or not, because we get stuck in this, well, I just want to learn and that's a higher bow and I'm no, it's okay to say, no, I don't want to roll today. No, I'm taking it light. I'm just drilling, you know, so finding somewhere where you're comfortable and accepted and, you know, do you feel safe? I don't know. I'm also reachable in Instagram, so they can reach me out there. You know, there's a lot of women. I'm so surprised that a lot of women from other gyms will randomly DM me and I won't know who they are. They don't know me personally, but they've heard about me. Another woman has told them about me. Another teacher, male, has told them about me. And that's happened to me where male teachers really promote my jiu-jitsu and encourage other women to come and train with me. And it's so good to feel that way because it's coming a long way, you know, from when I first started. So, you know, I'm free. I'm always available. You know, call me, text me.
Tania is super nice. Anybody listening to this, I will also attach her details somewhere, wherever this podcast is listed. Please get in touch. I mean, she's tiny. She's full of rage. She's the most dangerous woman, one of the most dangerous women in CT. I'm telling you, I'm not playing. If they were to see these clips of you doing these arm bars and triangles, they'll think twice to see, like, hey, size doesn't really matter over here. With all due respect, Tania, your mental health currently, you're a brown belt, you're an educated Hispanic woman. You have so many good things ahead of you. You're a mother who's striving, you're balancing all these things. How do you balance all these hats that you wear? You make time for jiu-jitsu, you make time for your kids, and then your personal self care. I mean, outside of jiu-jitsu, what are you really doing? How do you manage your schedule? Because it sounds like we got to book an appointment to get a sit down with you, right? So what's going on there? What are you doing to manage all these roles?
It's definitely really hard to manage, and for me to give up control of things, right? I didn't have a lot of control of things growing up. A lot of things happened to me, and as a result, I grew up to want to have control of, you know, my schedule, where I'm going, at what time. So it's definitely a challenge, but I really believe that me being a single parent also works 100% if I'm sharing that load. And just reaching out to my village, you know, their dads are very involved with them. So I definitely cling on to that. You know, I really want to make sure that they're safe, that they're good. And in order for me to do that, then I have to make sure that I'm good. So I have to create the time, the space for me so that I'm good for them. And so, you know, I split my time, and say like the girls have days and nights that they spend with their dad so that I have my time. They have their time, you know, so it's worked out where we're both of us doing things for our kids and not just me.
Okay.
So that's a lot, you know. It's fathers are so important. Fathers are so important, so important, so important. And, you know, I don't want to be that person that keeps my child away because we're not together, because it didn't work out. That's no longer the problem. The problem now is how are we going to deal with our kids, and really dividing that responsibility so that you feel like you're doing something, I'm doing something, and we're both not getting burnt out, right? So just being a lot of time management, a lot of conversations, openness, and a lot of compromising, right? Because they have lives outside of their work and their kids, as do I. So I really try to utilize my resources when it comes to that. But I definitely, you know, make sure that I'm spending time with them, that I'm with them, that I'm there when it matters too, right? I don't like to think about spending time with my kids as quantity, right? It's impossible for us to be wanting to be with our kids, stuck to them and doing their things for 3, 4, 5 hours. So for me, it's a lot of quality time, right? A child is not going to remember that we spent 3 hours together, but he is or she is going to remember something special about that moment. So just making those moments with people really count, you know, really matter. Not just be intentional. I'm trying to be more intentional, I guess is what I'm saying with my time, so that I can have my blocks of different things that I have, because, you know, I'm working with this new job. I'm required to do overtime. So a lot of my personal time gets cut off. And I have kids, plus I want to train. That was very big when I started this new job. My schedule with jiu-jitsu was being affected, and I wanted to be home. And now I'm thinking, okay, I can make it to jiu-jitsu, but what about the girls? What about this? What about that? So just, you know, learning that it's okay to be selfish sometimes and say, you know what, I'm just getting from home, but I'm going to hit the gym because my mental health really needs it right now. And I'm not going to be a good parent if I'm here that 1 hour and I'm going to make them miserable, and now I'm miserable and I have a headache, or, you know, not to say that that's how it goes, but some days are heavier than others. So just being mindful, you know, that it is okay to take time for you. They're going to be okay. As long as they're with someone they're loved with, that they're cared for, and that they're safe, all is good, you know?
All is good. Yeah. And especially when they have a mom who's hustling the way that you are. So for all the single mothers out there, keep doing what you're doing.
But you could do it.
Keep doing what you're doing. Hey, it's hard, but hey, my guest is doing it, so you can do it. Right? I don't want to hear that shit. Hey, I don't even think there's enough days for this woman, and she's doing it. So if you're listening to this,
stay motivated.
Much empathy. Stay motivated, stay powerful, stay confident. You're beautiful. You're enough. Keep doing your thing. Your child is paying attention. Tania, you landed on a very important aspect here when you say just remain present. And kids remember that for the rest of their lives. So being present and giving them the best childhood that you can possibly give. And there's nothing more that you can do than that.
Exactly. That's all they need.
And yeah, that's all they need. And speaking of your oldest, has she's been flirting around with jiu-jitsu? Do you guys do your own training?
No.
Like, where's she at with that? Is she
I'm
into it yet?
Because she used to train jiu-jitsu. She was so into it, but it's a learning lesson, right? You don't become a parent. You don't get a guide. So I used to be like, you got to do jiu-jitsu. And I used to pressure her a lot to the point that she stopped. It kind of turned her off. And also, it's not within her. She's like, Mom, I don't like to sweat. I don't like to do this. I don't like to do that. And as you know, jiu-jitsu is like your sweat, my sweat, everybody's sweat, and it's disgusting, right? So she didn't like it. She's doing volleyball, which I'm so happy because she's physical.
Okay.
She's staying active, and that's important. And it's so important for, mental health, but also our physical health. So I'm glad that she's doing that. But no jiu-jitsu. My little one, though, she's aggressive. She's crazy. She wants to, hurt everybody. That child is something else.
Okay. We got a little submission master in the making with that little one. But hey, you know what? I'll tell you this. And a lot of my other jiu-jitsu friends, the ones with kids, sometimes it takes them to open up to it later on in life. So maybe in her 20s, her 30s, maybe she flirts with the idea. And again, we often fall into that expectation of, hey, if I did this, you have to do it. Maybe she goes and does something different.
And that's where I went wrong initially. Instead of just letting her flourish her own way and blossom, I kind of just killed it for her. So, but I still encourage it. I don't sit here and tell her you have to do it, but you do have to do something, some activity that requires, for you to be active. But also I do even, consider her starting soon, but just because of that piece of being able to protect yourself, especially now we all walk with our phones in our hands and we're not aware of what's happening around us. And I don't ever want to think that she could have defended herself. She could have done, or I could have been a better this or that, and that things just didn't work that way. So I really encourage her. I don't press her on it, but I do hope that maybe one day she'll want to even just take a few classes just to make me happy. I don't know.
I think you're gonna get some satisfaction regardless of what that looks like. I think as a mom, you're doing a terrific job. And to all of our female listeners, again, a special shout out to everyone who's doing that hard work of single parenting. Personally, I work in my own clinical experience with single moms, and I'm in the center of all of the troubles that single moms face. So a special shout out. My heart goes out to every single parent, single dads as well. Single dads, they're not often discussed. Single dads, shout out to single dads as well. You try your best for the kids because at the end of the day, it's all for the kids. That's it. Tania, any last thoughts, any last recommendations for mental health, anything on your mind that you just want to tell that listener, just before we end this episode of the Mental Health Cafe podcast? What is on your mind for that listener who may be needing some words of encouragement?
I think it's very important to be honest with yourself, be honest with where you're at and your mental health. Sometimes we want to be in denial and that serves us no purpose. It just hurts us even more. So just be aware that you need help. Reach out to friends, reach out to family, go to a gym, make your own family. If you feel alone, you can build. You can meet people. You can surround yourself with people that have gone through things or have not, or gone through different things than you, but want to be there for you, and work on your mental health. Go to the gym. That's such a huge thing that we don't talk about. Eat healthy, work out, do what you have to do so that your mental health gets that positive push that it needs to continue doing what it needs to be doing. Come to the gym, come see me. I'm at both gyms, one in Orange, one in Fairfield. Come train.
Yes, give out your, promote all your things. What's the name of the gyms? Give out your Instagram, anything that you want to promote, just so they can know how to find you, Tania.
On Instagram, I think it's Tania_E15, but otherwise just look for my name, Tania Mayan. I go to Fairfield. The gym is called Fit Club Jiu-Jitsu. It's on Fairfield Post Road. Please come. Very family oriented. That's the most important thing for me. Very family oriented. Of course, we have our competitors, but family oriented is number one. And then Orange, that's Black Wolf Martial Arts, also on the Post Road. And just come. They're lovely people. They're a good bunch. Their gym is amazing. They have every type of sport you can think of. Go and check them out.
Go check them out. Go learn how to do some self-defense. Go learn from one of the best fighters in Connecticut. You know what? And I want to say in the East Coast, I got my money on Tania. Go ahead, please. Go learn. Go protect yourself. Learn some self-defense. Get in shape. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a beautiful art. It is addicting. It is complicated. It is frustrating, but it is one of those experiences that are definitely going to shape you into a better person. A strongly recommended activity for anybody that's facing anxiety or depressive symptoms. Please get active, just like Tania mentioned. Tania, we're out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in. And you are the baddest woman in CT. Everybody check out Tania. Thank you so much. We're out of here.